Welcome back to Lab Cyber. Now, one of the biggest stories in the world of cybersecurity currently is the hack against Canvas. Now, apparently over 9,000 schools worldwide have been affected, and it's also believed that the individual records of about 275 million people has been stolen. And naturally, people are talking about the group behind this hack, this group called ShinyHunters. People are asking, who the hell are these guys? Are they just some random ransomware hacker group operating out of a basement? Are they state-sponsored? Are they sponsored by the rocket man Kim Jong-un in North Korea? Are they sponsored by China or Russia? Or maybe they're even operating from within the United States? Nobody really knows. So what I want to do in today's video is to break down exactly who ShinyHunters are. I'm going to give you their origin story, how they operate, why they're very successful, because they've been doing this for years. And we also have to talk about their hit list, because trust me when I say that it is wild, okay? These guys are basically kind of like the final boss of cybercrime prostitution. They don't discriminate. They go after everyone. If they feel that you have the data worth stealing and that you have the revenue to pay them, they will come after you. It doesn't matter how big or small your company is. It doesn't matter what kind of industry your business operates in, whether it's medical, educational, or financial. It doesn't matter. If they feel you have the data worth stealing and that you have the money, they will come after you. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right in. Now, just like with any classic comic book villain, ShinyHunters do have an origin story. Now, it is believed that they first appeared on the dark web back in May of 2020. Remember May 2020, the good old days of the coronavirus lockdowns? So while people were getting fat and lazy being stuck at home, these guys were getting busy. Now, they basically appeared on the dark web in a 2-week burst, offering hundreds of millions of stolen user records from over a dozen companies. And this was basically their introductory hack. This was them announcing to the world that, hey, we are here, we're ShinyHunters, and we are here to cause chaos. You know how we have in the music industry, you have certain kinds of very talented musicians whose, debut album goes platinum, they sell, millions of records, and overnight they become a sensation, they become stars. That's basically kind of like the cybercrime equivalent, okay? The very first major hack, and they already had access to hundreds of millions of user records being sold on the dark web. So this was already the very early sign that these guys are going to become very prolific in what it is that they do, and that they'll be very, very difficult to deal with. Now, their actual name, ShinyHunters, apparently it comes from shiny Pokemon. I don't play Pokemon. If you play Pokemon, you probably know what it is. If you don't, it's essentially the rare alternate color variants in the games that players obsessively hunt for. And yes, it is a very, very playful, jovial name, but there is nothing playful about what it is that they do, because they have caused some very, very serious damage. And right from the very start, their model of operation has been very, very simple, okay? You either pay the ransom or your data goes public, all right? There is no negotiation theatrics in here. There's no complex ransomware deployment. It's just very simple. We have your data. Here is the price for the ransom. The clock is ticking. What you gonna do? Are you gonna pay? If you pay, we don't leak. If you don't pay, we're gonna leak. Now, researchers have flagged connections to a group called Gnostic Players, who are a crew allegedly behind over 1 billion leaked records. And then there's also Scattered Spider. Now, you might know them as Octopus or Model Libra. They use the exact same social engineering playbook with the exact same targets. So when you're looking at this group, you're not looking at just one person, you're looking at an entire network. So how exactly do ShinyHunters operate? And perhaps a more important question would be, why is it that they've been so successful? Contrary to popular opinion, ShinyHunters don't go after the targets directly, all right? It's not like they would attack a company's perimeter or shut down the firewall or anything like that. Instead, what they would typically do is that they will go through some sort of a third-party contractor or vendor that has some sort of a connection with the actual target. So the primary attack surface here is not going to be a company's anti-malware or the firewall. Instead, typically it's the SaaS layer, the software as a service layer. So they will try to exploit things like faulty cloud integrations, API credentials, a company's third-party analytics provider. In other words, we're talking about supply chain attacks here. ShinyHunters have become masters specialists at supply chain attacks. And also it's been reported that because we now live in the world of AI, you have AI hacking. So naturally, ShinyHunters have also started using AI to assist them in both phishing and vishing attacks, where they will try to impersonate IT support staff in an effort to harvest the credentials of company employees. Now, once inside, the playbook is pretty consistent. They will breach, exfiltrate the data, list it on the dark web, contact the victim, set a deadline, and then if they don't pay, they will publish. And critically, victims often don't find out the breach happened until their data is already up for sale, sometimes months later, sometimes even years. And that's what makes ShinyHunters particularly dangerous, because the dwell time between initial access and public disclosure can be really, really large. We're talking about weeks, months, sometimes even years. So by the time a company's SIEM fires an alert saying, hey, there's been a breach, ShinyHunters may have already walked away with all the company's data. So the key question here would be, why is it that these supply chain attacks have been so successful? A key reason for this is because today, while most companies and organizations would have a very robust internal risk management program, the third-party risk management program, on the other hand, is either very, very ineffective or even non-existent. It's kind of like trying to keep a house safe and secure, so you lock the front door, but then you leave the windows open. Many of these organizations fail to realize that it's not enough to have a robust internal security program. The third-party risk management program is also just as important. Now, let me walk you through what this group has actually done, because I believe that the scale of it gets lost when we talk about one breach at a time. Now, this all starts in 2020. ShinyHunters makes their debut. In the first 2 weeks, they dump records from Mathway, Tokopedia, a string of dating apps and food delivery platforms. Now, in 2021, they attacked the Indian retailer Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. They stole 5.4 million customer records. However, their ransom was rejected and the data went public. In 2023, Pizza Hut Australia was next. They stole 30 million order records from over 1 million customers. And in 2024, they attacked Ticketmaster. They stole data from over 560 million customers. Their data was listed for sale at $500,000, one of the largest consumer data exfiltrations in history. And in that same year, AT&T were attacked. They stole the records of over 110 million customers. AT&T eventually paid $370,000 in ransom to have the data deleted. Now, here is something you don't hear enough of, okay? And that's that in 2023, when Breach Forums, which is essentially the premier marketplace for selling stolen data on the dark web, was taken down by the FBI and the founder arrested, ShinyHunters didn't just survive this major setback. No, they actually thrived in it, because with the owner and founder out of the way in prison, ShinyHunters took over Breach Forums. So they essentially transitioned from just being a regular hacker group to now running the infrastructure with which other cyber criminals sell their own stolen data. And in May 2024, the FBI seized Breach Forums again. ShinyHunters got the domain back within hours using the site's own EPP code. They relaunched it. The FBI and law enforcement have actually seized this firm multiple times, but somehow ShinyHunters has recovered every single time. Now, 2025 is where these guys basically injected themselves with hacker steroids and went ballistic. First, they went after the Salesforce CRM infrastructure, and the victims start reading like a Forbes list. Google, Adidas, Cisco, Cantas, Allianz, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Tiffany. Cantas alone had 5.7 million customers exposed. We're talking about frequent flyer data, travel history, contact details, and so on. And the breach was so serious that their own executives took voluntary pay cuts. Then came Coinbase, and they demanded $20 million in ransom. However, Coinbase said no. And interestingly, they actually flipped it, putting a $20 million bounty on the attackers themselves. And by the end of 2025, you can add Harvard and SoundCloud, nearly 30 million accounts to the list. And now in 2026, Udemy, Vimeo, and now Canvas have all been breached. Now, I do want to give some credit where credit is due, because the authorities have actually been trying to take down ShinyHunters. See, back in May of 2022, they arrested whom they believe to be one of the key leaders of the group, a French programmer by the name of Sébastien Rollo. He was arrested in Morocco and then extradited to the United States. And then January 2024, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison and then asked to repay over $5 million. And then in June of 2025, the French authorities arrested 4 more suspected members in a coordinated global operation. But here's my take on this, and this is where things get particularly interesting from a threat intelligence standpoint. See, every single arrest has slowed them down, yes, but only temporarily. Operations have resumed every single time, and the arrests themselves at this point raise a bigger question, which is the ShinyHunters active today even the same group from 2020? Cybersecurity researchers have openly acknowledged that they don't know. It may be a brand at this point, a name that other threat actors will adopt because it carries weight and because it muddies attribution. And after the June 2025 arrests, 2 separate news outlets raised the possibility that French authorities may have arrested an affiliate, not the ringleader, because ShinyHunters activity continued without any apparent disruption. So it's basically the Hydra problem at this point. You cut off one head and then 2 more grow back, okay? And this is the major issue with decentralized criminal networks like this. You can arrest individual members, you can shut down or seize infrastructure like breach forums, but when the operation is designed to be loosely affiliated, loosely distributed, and running under a brand rather than a fixed hierarchy, it's very, very difficult to fully dismantle. So the FBI, like I said, they've seized breach forums multiple times, but somehow ShinyHunters keeps relaunching it every single time, and this tells you just how resilient this particular criminal network is. Now, one very important thing I should mention here is, why is it that ShinyHunters continues to do what it is that they do? And the answer is very, very simple. Their ransom model is actually very profitable. Now, in most cases, the victims don't end up paying the ransom and ShinyHunters ends up releasing the data on the dark web. But the few that do pay, they pay handsomely. The ransom demands here aren't chicken change. We're talking about 6 figures, sometimes 7 figures. So all it takes is for one single victim company to pay the ransom, and ShinyHunters would have made a lot of money. Now, I'm not trying to put the blame on the companies. I know that sometimes these kinds of decisions can be very, very difficult, and sometimes it's a lot easier to simply pay the ransom. But the truth is, them paying the ransom isn't helping matters here either, and it only ends up encouraging ShinyHunters and other ransomware groups to keep on doing what it is that they do. So in closing, ShinyHunters have been active for about 6 years now. They've breached well over 400 organizations. They've had multiple members arrested and extradited. The FBI have seized the infrastructure multiple times. And right now, as of May 2026, they have just taken down over 9,000 schools during finals week and are now demanding ransoms with a May 12th deadline. So let me leave you with this, all right? ShinyHunters aren't just your regular hacker group or regular ransomware group. They are running a business at this point, a very illegitimate business, but a very profitable one nonetheless. They have pricing models, negotiation playbooks, affiliate networks, and apparently at this point, a very long list of repeat customers who don't fix the vulnerability after the first breach. Don't be one of the victims. So that's it for today's video, where I have talked about ShinyHunters in extensive detail. If you found this video helpful, informational, educational, entertaining, whatever you want to call it, be sure to give me a like. Follow me here at Lab Cyber. I cover news and tutorials around the world of AI and cybersecurity. So if you do enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. Put them down in the comment section below. And of course, share this video with anyone whom you feel might benefit from it. And until then, stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time.